Chapter 13. Picture a shanty town made of ragged nylon tents, like for acres. Then picture making a left and finding yourself in front of a big top of the Big Apple Circus. That's what Dr. G.H.'s crib was like. It was an ornate, beautiful tent, complete with screened windows, a covered porch, and a strip of green carpet leading across the sand to the front entrance. I glanced at Angel and she gave me a weak smile. We were both upset about what had happened yesterday when I'd lost my cool. That morning Fang had told me not to pursue it, and part of me, I admit, just didn't want to know. I was hoping it would all go away, so for now, I decided to pretend it hadn't happened. The tent by the door was pulled aside by a guy in a white uniform who opens the tent door. What a job description. Inside, netting-covered windows let in light, and electric fans kept warm air circulating. The floor was covered by oriental rugs overlapping, so there were no gaps. Our feet sunk into soft plush, and I almost sighed. The doctor came into the room from behind a screened-off portion of the space and welcomed us with open arms. "Come, sit," he said, and again looking fashionable and elegant. "You must be hungry. I can't tell you how delighted I am to finally make your acquaintance. I've been following your history avidly." After glancing around, memorizing the exit, I sat down on a leather stool beside a low table. Angel sat across from me, not next to me. I tried, unsuccessfully, not to put too much meaning into that. "Following our history? Do you know Jeb Batchelder?" I asked. He looked at me blankly. No. No, I can't say I've had the pleasure. Is he a friend of yours?" "No." A servant came in with a silver tray piled high with food. Pastries, a pitcher of fresh juice, sliced fruit, eggs, bacon. I thought of the mush the rest of the flock was eating, not to mention the mush that the entire refugee camp was faced with day after day, and tried, unsuccessfully, to feel guilty. "Please, help yourselves," said Dr. G.H. "You probably require a great many calories, do you not?" "I know I do." My head swiveled as Dylan came into the room. His dark honey hair was wet, and he looked clean and fresh, which put him 2 large steps ahead of Angel and me. I almost expected a photographer to leap through the tent flaps, telling Dylan to work it. "Hello, Max, Angel," Dylan said, sitting on another stool. "Wow, last night seemed like a dream. I couldn't really believe that you existed. And now here you are, and I'm not alone." His face was open and sincere, his expression as clear as his tanned skin. I felt my cheeks flush, no doubt from the first-class cup of joe I'd just gulped. "Have some strawberries?" said the doctor, pushing a silver bowl toward me. He smiled. "There's more where they came from, so don't be shy." Not really something he needed to worry about with us. I slathered butter onto a scone, piled up orange marmalade on top of that, and took a bite so I wouldn't have to say anything right away. But then I couldn't stand the awkward silence. "What lab are you from?" I asked Dylan abruptly, with my mouth half full. Miss Manners I am not. Dylan's perfect brow wrinkled. "Just some lab up in Canada. I was cloned from another Dylan who died in a car wreck or something." He took a bite of pain au chocolat. I blinked. Most of the clones I'd seen were robotic, like bad special effects in a movie, which Dylan most certainly was not. "How old are you?" About 8 months, I think," he said, looking to Dr. Gunter Hagen for confirmation. The doctor nodded. There's a lot to learn. Like, I suck at flying. I suck at a lot of stuff, actually. He chuckled weakly and looked down at his plate, sort of embarrassed like. I kind of felt sorry for him. And then I felt angry and suspicious. We didn't know him from Adam. This could all be part of an elaborate trap. This isn't a trap, Max. I almost dropped my scone as my voice suddenly spoke up for the first time in ages. Some people have a conscience. I have a voice. An annoying, Batinsky, intrusive voice. Calm down, Max. Relax and enjoy this. This is a special occasion. You see, Dylan is for you. He was designed for you. He's your perfect other half. Chapter 14. I inhaled and accidentally sucked some scone crumbs down the wrong way, setting off an apoplectic coughing fit that had the doctor patting my back hard, looking concerned. Made for me, my perfect other half. Are you freaking insane? My mind screamed even as my eyes watered and I coughed and coughed, unable to bear the awful tickle at the back of the throat. Here, drink this, said Angel, handing me some juice. Can you breathe? The doctor asked. Do you need the Heimlich maneuver? Heimlich me and die, I managed to choke out, taking a sip. Dylan had frozen, a cluster of red grapes in his hand. His eyes were wide and watchful, as if he actually gave a crap about what happened to me. I suspected the doctor had an agenda because nothing was ever given to us just because we were swell. Now I knew that it was sitting across from me, looking like the cover of People's Magazine, People's Magazine Sexiest People issue. Are you okay? Dylan asked. I nodded and took a deep breath. Time to make like a tree and leave. I got ready to stand up. Max, don't run away. Stick this out. Don't be a coward. I almost started choking again. Stupid voice. Well, if you're only 8 months old, said Angel, it'll take you a while to learn stuff. She ladled some eggs onto her plate and tucked in. I gave thanks that she was remembering to use utensils. Again, Dylan focused his eyes, the colour of the Caribbean, on me. It felt like it was about 110 degrees in there, and I took a swig of cold juice. Maybe I had time for another croissant. Maybe you could teach me some stuff, said Dylan. Max is a good teacher, Angel said with conviction. It made me feel worse about going off on her yesterday. She didn't make up her pronouncements, she just reported them. That's an excellent idea, said Dr. G.H. Max would be the perfect person to teach you, Dylan. Well, I don't know, I said. Like what? Do not get yourself sucked into this, Max, I told myself. Could I see... Dylan hesitated, then his face hardened with determination. Could I see your wings? I've never seen anyone else's. I thought about saying, you show me yours and I'll show you mine, but I'd already seen his. I pushed a couple of strawberries into my mouth and stood up. After making sure I had enough space, and I did, which shows you how big Wonder Tent was, I shook my shoulders a little and unfolded my wings. Both Dylan and Dr. G.H. stared. They're beautiful, said Dylan, sounding kind of hoarse. You really do have them, like me. I folded my wings and sat down, feeling weird but not knowing why. Actually, Dill, you have them like me. I've had mine for 14 years, or so. A smile played around Dylan's symmetrical features. Yeah, I guess so. Either way, your wings are incredible. They're perfect. Now I was really uncomfortable and slathered some butter onto my fourth croissant. Suddenly I just wanted to get out of there, get back to the others. I'd been sneaking food into my pockets and my jacket probably weighed several pounds by now. I took one last bite and stood up again. Well, this has been fabulous, I said, my mouth full, but we better get going and perform more humanitarian aid. Please stay, begged Dylan. Sorry, no can do, I said briskly. Max, we have so much more to talk about, said Dr. Siasika pleasantly. Duty calls, I said. Ange? In a smooth movement, the doctor stepped between me and the tent's entrance. Reaching into his shirt pocket, he whipped out a syringe. Just a minute, Max. It's not that simple. Chapter 15. I smiled my evil, itching for a fight smile, wishing I hadn't stuffed my pockets with bacon. This could get messy. Max, wait, Angel said. He doesn't mean us harm. And you know this because... began sarcastically and then realized she probably did actually know that. Dylan had a familiar alertness, a tensing of muscles that made me wonder if he had been trained for battle. I guessed I would find out. Angel is right, said Dr. GH quickly. This is my clumsy way of demonstrating. Demonstrating what? I was barely able to keep a snarl out of my voice. How to get yourself beat up in one easy step? No, said Dr. GH. Demonstrating the wonders of modern science. Watch. And with that, he rolled up one sleeve and swiftly injected himself with the hypo. It was something new and different to watch a scientist experiment on himself. I liked it. Within moments, the doctor gasped, wide-eyed, sucking in breath. He groaned and staggered a bit, holding his throat, then sank onto a chair. Angel was eating a banana and watching him avidly. I sent her a question. What's going on? She looked at me and shrugged. No clue. I sat down and snagged another coffee and muffin since it looked like this might take a while. For several minutes, the doctor hunched over, grimacing. Then he managed to speak in wheezy gasps. I've injected a rare strain of virus that is going to cause another shocking reaction. What you science guys do for fun, I said with false cheer. Having grown up in the lab, I associated the words a rare virus, with hazmat suits. I wanted out of there. He frowned. Clearly not for fun, but for progress. Sometimes progress is painful. Now watch. Sweat broke out on his brow, and his face turned bright red. And get ready for this most terrific next part, kids. All at once, his skin erupted in grotesque pustules. I jumped up. Out of here, dudes! No, Max, wait, he gasped hoarsely. The miracle is about to begin. The only reasons I didn't do an up and away were A, it's hard in a tent, and B, when I did a double take, I saw that the doc's pustules were already shrinking. Could I have imagined it? I sat back down shakily. To explain it in very basic lay terms, he went on, more quickly now that he wasn't gasping for air. A number of my organs and systems, including the skin, brain, blood cells, thyroid, the entire immune system, are now working together to analyze the virus, produce white blood cell and glandular response that will eradicate the virus and circulate it through my body almost instantaneously. Okay. Can see how that might come in handy, I said, thinking about the sick refugees I'd seen in camp. Especially if it puts doctors like you out of business. I don't trust doctors. The doctor smiled. You're getting the picture, Max. Because in an apocalypse there are no doctors. There are no hospitals and certainly no insurance companies. You are on your own. It is you against the forces of nature, which at this point in the Earth's history surely see it as the best interest to eradicate the human race. Do you understand what I mean, Max? Let me give you another example. He pulled out a meat cleaver. Chapter 16. Before I had a chance to disappear, fast, Dr. Gunther Hagen had hacked off the tip of his left pinky finger. You heard me right. Angel screamed, I screamed, the madman screamed too, in pain, then regained his composure. Don't worry, children, he grunted. The biological healing system is now working together with an advanced stem cell response. I am able to reposition my severed fingertip. He moved it back in place and pressed on it to his stub with a pained expression. Or, even more miraculously, were you willing to stay with me for the next several days, you could actually watch a new one grow right back in its place. Whoa, was all I could say. Dylan looked unmoved by the whole thing. Guess people sprouting new limbs was common where he came from. A moment later, the doctor held up his left hand and wiggled all 5 fingers. Intact. This guy was seriously starting to worry me, and I began to back slowly toward the door, ready to leap out of the way if he lunged at me with a needle, or meat cleaver. Angel looked excited, and I frowned. Typical yin-yang response from us. Okay. I think I get it, I said. I also get that it all seems a little too good to be true. What makes you say that? The doctor asked, examining his healed finger with satisfaction. Well, that must be some pretty super mega powerful body chemistry happening there. If it can kill a virus in a single explosion, could it, say, accidentally kill you? Or could you accidentally grow an ear instead of a fingertip? How about a claw? The doctor waved his hand impatiently. Of course there are bugs that need to be worked out. Certainly overactive immune system response can be a tricky business, among other challenges. We're working on that, but in the meantime, we have the pharmacology to counteract the side effects. My point is, once those bugs are solved, a world of possibilities opens up. And a world of unpredictable chaos, I thought. After the apocalypse, we could all be living like cavemen again, the doctor said. We could be hunted by the huge mutant carnivores, things we can't even imagine now. We need every weapon, shield, and protection in our arsenal. And here's the important thing, Max. Remember this if you remember nothing else. We must be our own weapons. His eyes were focused intently on me. I'll just ask now, what is it about my persona that draws every insane, power-hungry nutcase to me like a magnet? We will have to survive on our own strengths. You can fly. You and the flock have gifts. Dylan here is also gifted and in some ways different from you. But this kind of healing ability will be the difference between life and death in the near future. Well, I said. Traditionally, I would have come up with something snappy and or scathing here, but I have to tell you, this guy unnerved me. Because, in a crazy way, what he was saying made some kind of sense. It's really impressive, I said, but I don't see what it has to do with me, with us. Dr. G.H. straightened. I asked you here to discuss a possible alliance between us, a partnership, if you will. Your flock and my companies and Dylan. With your natural abilities and the powers of science I'm unleashing, we can, in essence, ensure the survival of the humankind. We would be allies? Angel asked. No, I told her, giving her a warning look that she ignored. Again, I started to make my way toward the door. You are six of the most successful recombinant DNA life forms ever created, Dr. G.H. went on earnestly. Until now. He motioned proudly to Dylan, who had the decency to look embarrassed. My companies are producing some of the most cutting-edge, daring science in the world today. Together we could actually achieve your mission, to save the world. I stopped in my tracks and turned back to face him. Okay, he had insider info. Sorry. Thanks for asking, but the flock works alone. I was acutely aware of Dylan's steady gaze, his tightly coiled tension as he watched the doctor. Thanks for the great breakfast, I added. I'm really impressed with your science and all, but I don't think we're the right partners for you. That was probably the most diplomatic, least obnoxious reply I've ever given anyone my whole life. This isn't goodbye, Max. The doctor's voice followed me as I exited the tent. And that isn't your final answer. Chapter 17. Have I ever told you how much I hate needles? Oh, that's what's there. Bad childhood memories. It's a lab escapee thing. The meat cleaver was a mere annoyance in comparison. My mind was still reeling as I slogged through the sand back to our camp. I kept a death grip on Angel's hand as she trotted beside me to keep up. The African sun beat down on us, and for the first time I felt the heat crushing me. I really wanted to help the CSM and the refugees here, but my Mother Teresa aspirations were crumbling fast. This was the place. This place was suddenly way too dangerous for us. Angel's dire prediction, what the voice had said about Dylan, Chu, and the disappearing refugees in the middle of the night, and now Dr. Hans's obsessive fondness for wielding knives and needles full of pathogens had all combined to turn this trip into a nightmare. We had to get out of there and far away from Dr. Cleaner. ASAP. What did you think about Dylan? Angel asked. Poor sap, I said briefly, and tried not to think any more about him in case she was in mind-reading mode. Don't you think we should stay to help him? Help him do what? Help him to learn, she said. He's brand new. He doesn't have anyone else. I don't think he can learn what he needs to know from Dr. Hans. At least we all have each other. She smiled and smiled up at me somewhat tentatively. Stopping, I looked into her blue eyes. Do we, Angel? I asked softly as her smile faltered. Do we all have each other? Have each other's backs? She didn't say anything, and we were out of sight of our tent. Gazzy called over to us. I strode forward and motioned everyone inside. In the heat of the day, it was stifling, but I would make this fast. Okay, I said. First, here. I handed out squashed bacon, muffins, fruit, everything I'd been able to stuff into the cargo pockets of my pants and my jacket. In retrospect, the handful of scrambled eggs had not been a good idea, but still, my poor hungry flock fell on everything like hygiene-challenged hyenas. Gazzy actually moaned as he downed a piece of bacon in 2 bites. Listen up, I said urgently. It's time to round up your gear. I'm going to check in with Patrick and then we're getting the flock out of here. If we head northeast, we'll hit Italy. From Italy to Ireland. Ireland to New York. Sound good? They all looked at me. I'll explain on the road, but we have to get out of here. Fast. I even looked over my shoulder as if Dr. Hackerhagen was about to pop through our tent flap. Aren't we supposed to stay and help? Nudge asked, brushing off crumbs. We've helped. We've posed for pictures, I said, shoving my stuff into my backpack. Us staying a bit longer won't do that much more. Are we going on another CSM mission? Nudge asked. Nah, not for a while, I said. We're headed someplace new and different. Fang looked at me and smiled. It was time to spill our little secret. Home.